equation, and it's asking us to find the slope and the y-intercept of the equation. Our equation is y equals 4x minus 2. So all our equations are in the form of y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. So I can just look at the equation. M is being multiplied by x. Well, 4 is being multiplied by x, so the slope is 4. B is our y-intercept. It's whatever is being added. Well, in this case, if I wanted to say this is adding, I would say plus -2 because subtraction is the same thing as adding a negative. So my y-intercept is -2. However, please make sure you understand that y-intercepts are ordered pairs, and they're always when x is 0. So the y-intercept is really 0, -2. Oh, looks like I lost some animations, so you get a quick preview here. So determining the slope from a graph. Well, we want the rate of change from a graph. So we're talking about rise over run. So I rise by going down 1, 2, 3, 4. So that rise is a -4 because I went down 4. And then I run over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So -4 over 5 is my slope. Now, that is just one way to find the slope of a graph. If you don't like doing it that way, you can always do change in y over change in x and pick 2 points from the graph. Well, I'm going to pick the 2 they already gave me. So that's 0, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1. So 5, -1. And I can put them in a table. To go from 3 to -1, I subtract 4. And to go from 0 to 5, I add 5. So my slope is still -4 over 5. Change in y over change in x. It does not matter which way you find the slope from the graph. They both will work. You can either do rise and over run or change in y over change in x. So now to determine the y-intercept from a graph, well, the y-intercept is always where x is 0 or where it touches the y-axis. And I see that it touches the y-axis right here. So my y-intercept is just 0, 3 because that's the point in which we touch the y-axis and where x is 0. Determining the slope and the y-intercept from a table, well, the first thing I need to do is change in y over change in x. To go from 40 to 45, I add 5. To go from 3 to 4, I add 1. Now my slope is 5 over 1, change in y over change in x, which simplifies to just 5. To find the y-intercept when I'm given a table, I'm going to plug into my equation y equals mx plus b. I plug in the 5 for my slope because that is what the slope is. Now I want to solve for b, and that means I need to get rid of x and y. Well, to do this, I can just pick an x and y value from my table. So I chose 40 for y, and that matched up with 3 in the x. So now I have 40 is equal to 5 times 3. Remember, your slope is always being multiplied by your y-intercept. 40 is equal to 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 40 is equal to 15 plus b. To get b by itself, I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. The reason I subtract 15 is because 15 is positive. So 40 minus 15 is 25. So the slope is 5. The y-intercept is 25. If I really wanted to take that a step further, I would just plug into my equation and say y is equal to 5x plus 25. And that would be an equation written in slope-intercept form. Now, determining a slope and a y-intercept, find the slope and y-intercept of the line that passes through the points -4, 2 and 12, 6. Well, ordered pairs are always in the format of x, y, so I just make an x, y table. So we have -4, 2 and 12, 6. Well, to go from 2 to 6, I add 4. To go from -4 to 12, I add 16. My slope is change in y over change in x. So 4 over 16. I can simplify both of those by dividing by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So my slope is really 1/4. Now to find the y-intercept, again, I'm going to plug into y equals mx plus b. I just took my slope, plugged it in place of the m. And now I need to plug in an x and y value so that I can solve for b. So I just went ahead and chose my first point. I plugged in 2 for x, -4 for, or 2 for y, -4 for x. 1/4 times -4 is -1. So I get 2 is equal to -1 plus b. So I add 1 to both sides. So that way I get 3. Because it's a negative 1, I need to add 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So my slope is 1/4, and my y-intercept is 3. If I wanted to take it a step further, the equation would be y equals 1/4 x plus 3. The last one we're going to talk about is determining the slope and the y-intercept from a situation. Mark is having to buy presents for the holidays. He has already saved $60 and plans to save $10 each week. What would be the slope and y-intercept for this situation? Well, slope is our rate of change, what's happening over and over and over again. And the y-intercept is this starting point. So there's a couple of words that clue into what's what. Slope, the 3 words that mean slope are per, each, and an. I already see the word each, so that means the $10 is my slope. Additionally, you can think about it that the thing that's happening over and over and over again is you're going to keep saving those $10. I already have $60, so that's my starting point. So my y-intercept would be 0.60. Remember, y-intercepts are always when x is 0, so that's 0.60. And again, the word already told me it was the starting point. All right, thank you very much.